Hello, Mr. Halfson. How are you today?
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. We have a wonderful edition of Marvel Future Revolution, and we are going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear to both of our hearts. We did a video on your channel, so anybody who wants to check that out, we'll try to get you the link in the description below. Or if you are under a rock, why don't you tell people where to find you real quick?
It's just half send. The S is a 5, stands for 0.5, which is half. It's marketing, I think.
Half?
I don't know if I'm doing that right. Yeah. So
I'll go for it.
Yeah, just half send.
So there, we did a video over there. Yep, we did a video over there. He's a good guy. Go check him out. He's smart. He does good things. Yeah, so we like to collab a little bit. And on this one, like I said, it's near and dear to our heart. And that is the top. Well, before I get into the topic, I'm going to ask you a question. All right? And I don't remember if I told you I was going to ask you this or not, so I'm hoping I didn't tell you. But now I'm going to say, outside of the Marvel IP, if that's even a reason, why did you plan to play this game? What intrigued you in wanting to play this game? Before you'd played, what wanted you to, what sparked your interest?
Man, you threw me a curveball with the besides Marvel IP. I was playing Strike Force already. So that's my first, Marvel Strike Force was my first delving into the mobile gaming world to the extent that I did. I think I played Candy Crush or something before that. And Reminex told me about the game and the idea that there could be something like this where you could also play a role-playing game with these characters. Yeah, Marvel IP.
Yeah.
But just the idea that you could play a dynamic role-playing game like this on your cell phone, even though I played mainly on a emulator, I found it fascinating. If they nailed it, I've been chomping at the bit for years for a good role-playing game. I was a little bummed out by what's the new one that came out?
Is it a Marvel one?
No, it's a big one. It's
the Anthem one? Or
no.
Not, what was the name of
But
it?
long story short, I've been disappointed by a lot of MMOs, man. I've played them, lots of them, over the years, to where they are what I want. That's my favorite genre of games. I want to play MMOs, and I just was looking for that itch to scratch. There just wasn't an MMO out that did that for me. So I was hoping maybe this was it. I was going to give it a try. And I'll tell you, like, when I first started playing this game, I gave it a 9, like, for sure. A ton of fun. Yeah.
So the leading question there was because partially, for me, I saw, obviously I'm a, Marvel IP, great. And then I saw MMO and I thought, okay, I wonder what kind of content this game would have. And the thing that I thought it would have a lot of, and we talk about this quite a bit on your video, is that there would be tons of bosses and raids and dungeons and to go beat up with my friends. And for me, that's the sort of thing that intrigued me, again, outside of the Marvel IP. That is certainly at the forefront of that attraction. But the next part was what I mentioned. I am at my heart not a big PvPer. I don't mind it. I think it's sort of fun to compete. I tend to be okay, but I don't tend to ever be one of the best ever. But so in games like PVE situations where you got to think about strategy, calculations, know what the next steps are, reading signs that are, sometimes there's patterns to them. I tend to succeed and do pretty well on those dynamics where I'm like, okay. So that for me was the big reason, or one of the big reasons that sort of drew me here, was the idea that I was going to be able to play this MMO with PvE content with a ton of my friends.
Yeah, same.
So now having played this game for a number of months, we both, I'd say, generally enjoy it. I know I have fun even with the heavy PvP dynamic. But I think we both believe, and I think you've even said, you'll argue this till you're like blue in the face, that this game could use some more PvE content. And that they could actually do it in a manner, or I'm going to argue that they could do it in a manner where it would be successful for them. Would you generally agree with that kind of outlook?
I think I'll go as far as I think it's critical. I think the game really needs it to retain players. I think we're surprised. You know, a new player is surprised by the time they get to the end game at how much of it becomes PvP related, and where ultimately there's no challenge in anything PvE related.
Yeah. No, and I tend to agree with you. So the first question I ask myself is, can PvE be worth it? And to me, I have to think it is. Now, the game that we talk about with me typically when you and I talk about this is World of Warcraft, because that ended up being the one that I played mostly for MMO and PvE related. It had PvP aspects, but that game's financial model was a monthly subscription of $15 a month. Yeah. That was it. You paid that, move on. And they obviously, that game was largely successful. We'll stay out of the whole drama that company has brought upon itself. I'm not interested in that. But the game was hugely popular for a number of years, and typically ends up being one of the ones that people put up on a pedestal and say, how close is it to World of Warcraft? Am I going to enjoy that?
WoW killer.
Exactly. And that's, people said that all the time. Is this going to be a WoW killer? Yep. So for someone like myself, I've been craving for that sort of game for a long time. And the PvE worth of it is, we talked about this on your video, is what do you need for something to be worth PvE? So you need people, I mean, because look, games aren't free. You know, and I know that, right? You buy World of Warcraft for whatever it was, $50 or $60, and you did the subscription. That's how they got their money. And mobile games, they're mostly free to play, and then you buy something in said game. So PvP lends itself to you and I competing against each other and me wanting to beat you. So I'm going to buy something that makes me better at beating you, right? Generally speaking. But I'd like to say is that there can be aspects of PvE that you can go buy and spend money on that will still intrigue people. Now, it could be the same thing, like I want to be better at you than PvE, you know, whatever. I want to be number one on the list, and we'll get all that. But I might want to pay for something that helps me get that advantage. I might want to pay for something that gets me the world first. First person to get raid boss XYZ gets the title of first killer of XYZ boss, right? Whatever it is. Yeah. And look at me, I'm special because I did this. And I'm the only one in my server who ever gets that. No one else can ever touch it. You know, and they get close to this with Invasion a little bit with some of those titles. But I would argue, and I want to hear what you think about this, is if they put stuff like that in game, and one of the things we talked about again, another thing is emotes. If I can get a special emote or a title in this game, and while they had a lot of mounts, would you be willing to spend money on that?
For emotes right now, big time. This game really does have a strong social side that brings back memories of when I played EverQuest and some of the other social MMOs. And I think they're missing a mark here with social interactions like emotes and stuff like that. Now, I'm not someone, I mean, I'm an old man and I don't generally, but there are plenty of times you're in a situation with a person that you engage with all the time in the real world, and the way that we communicate with one another to show like, hey, what's up, is we run circles around each other and we fly and bounce. That's all we have. Now, if there was a salute or a bow or a dance emotes, I just feel like those would go a long way in the social side of this game. This game has a side of it that I feel like, because of some of its shortcomings, that social side is the glue that's keeping a lot of people here. It's for me, it's like my favorite part of the game is hanging out with alliance mates in Discord and playing Dark Zone.
Yep. I wholeheartedly agree. And you know, for me to be able to show off some of those things in headquarters or wherever it might be, or, you know, even in a Dark Zone, that if you get a PvE emote, or, you know, I mentioned in ours too, a PvE look, you can only get this particular look. It's got no stats associated with it, but it's some epic looking look for a character, and you can only get it there. People are going to be intrigued in that. So I personally think it can be worth it. I think you're going to be able to intrigue people into wanting to play it for things like that. In your video, you went through an extensive sort of walkthrough. And I encourage everybody to go walk through like kind of how they could set up the actual raids. I've got in the background just sort of my Star-Lord in Hydra. I'll do a little bit of a walkthrough sort of at the end with some like touch aspects of it, but you went through a lot of those dynamics, so I'm not going to necessarily double down on that part. But one of the things that keeps getting questioned about anybody who talks about PVE, or the flip side of this argument is, well, you know, how are you going to do it to keep a challenge, right? And you've said it before, sliders. It's easy. It's a percentage-based thing. You can make it more difficult, you know, and you know, Half-Sen got to the furthest, you know, part in the thing, and, you know, that's great, and you get a title like we talked about. And follow up to that, people will say, well, what do you expect to get more with those sliders if you get to, you know, epic level 600 or whatever it might be? Well, you know, look, like I said, he's just going for the #1 ranking there, so he's just trying to get there. It doesn't have to necessarily be, it can still be a PvP aspect of the PvE, right? And it's, you throw in a couple emotes, a couple cool looking things in game. I think people are going to be intrigued. They're going to want to pay. I mean, titles, emotes, I don't know. You can't really do a mount in this game per se, but you know what? Maybe there's, I mean, I guess it's an emote, but I was just say, is there a way to mount or fly differently or run differently or something like that in the game and you get it in your I don't know. You know, I'm just...
Maybe it's movement speed or something, even like you get a movement speed.
Yeah, something that's not game breaking, but, or, you know, you mentioned in yours, you get to a chest.
Yeah.
You get gear that's PvE centric, because you and I both know you need different builds in this game for the 2 different game modes. I'd argue you need 3. You need PvP, well, multiple PvPs. You need a PvE, and you need a mixture in Dark Zone, because you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes you need to burn a boss and fight somebody at the same time. So I certainly think that if you give someone incentive to do PvE, a title, an emote, a rare looking gear piece, or even a better PvE set, they will do it. So, and if people are interested in doing something and can gain an advantage on something, they will then spend on said thing. So that is to me where I kind of answer that question of, is it worth it? I believe yes. If you're watching this and you disagree with me, I'd love to hear from you below why I'm wrong, why that doesn't make any sense to you, or come to the Discord, either way. So I think you can give those rewards. And again, I mentioned that, you know, invasion is sort of like kind of there, but not really. I think they sort of fell short there. And, you know, I'm just showing Hydra in the background now where I'm sort of like walking through where all these mobs are. And this is the thing that you spent some time explaining on your video, where you could go through here and have mobs in these streets, you know, where they're doing different things, and you've got to pull a mob a certain way. And if you don't pull it the right way, that, you know, you might not be able to get through this thing, because all of a sudden it wipes your entire team, right? And that's not a good thing. So it's like you come around the corner here, you got your tank, you come up to the edge, it's the gate. All right, everybody behind me here. You know, you come around the corner, you get a knob, you poke it, and you come back around here, line of sight it, and you all fight over here. You're just fighting, and you do that, and you finally get to some spot where you maybe get to a boss, you know, and there's so many. I mean, it can be Red Skull as the final boss. It can be any of these mini bosses. You sort of work your way towards the end, and you get the chest. You know what I mean? And a certain area is unlocked. You got to beat this boss to get to the next area. You beat the next boss, you can open up the path to the next area. So on and so forth. You know, maybe there's a dead end area that's nothing there, but I don't know. Maybe there's mini boxes throughout there that give you some badges. I don't know. But one of the things I think you emphasized a lot on was that there is already infrastructure in this game to do this.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just do it? Right?
Yeah, there's all of these elements exist already. There've been I've brought this subject up before plenty of times, because I'm wildly passionate about this existing in this game, because this game takes up a lot of my day. I at its core, I love the game, but my expectations coming in were that I truly thought dungeon crawls would be in this game. And it was, like I said, a big surprise once you get to the end and you start playing it for a long time. Like, the dungeon crawls never really came. And and now I'm invested in the game. I'm still having fun. But some people have argued it's a mobile game, that can't happen. And I wildly disagree. And I do feel like is a strong financial upside for them to do so, because then it incentivizes building another set of gear. There's a lot of directions you could then take that. And it just, at the end of the day, has to be challenging. The reason why people build PvP gear is because ultimately there's a frustration mechanic there. It's you know, the stronger players present bigger challenges, just like an AI big bad guy. If you want to get through challenge level 10, maybe you need and you want to be the world first to do it, you got to perfect your PvE gear. Maybe you need villain up and villain down, super villain up, super villain down, high guard damage decrease. Maybe there's other factors. Maybe they introduce some additional stats that are for those modes exclusively. There's a lot of places they could take this.
There's a villain damage special card, right? Is it villain damage? I think it was one of the. I mean, it's like nobody uses
Trash.
that. It's terrible. You know, but maybe you need that card to be more successful in there, because there's so many waves of things that, you know, you need to wear it. Now, again, I know that Invasion has that, but we don't need it. You know what I mean? And like even the rewards there are sort of like, eh. So yeah, so I mean, I think ultimately if they give us something at the end of all this PvE that we care about, people are going to do it. And I'd argue, okay, well, what do we care about? And we named some of those things, right? Like what else? I'm sure there's certain other things. And yes, there are resources they'd have to put in, certainly. But if I'm paying and you're gaining more play, like how many people have we heard, I don't want to play this anymore because there's no PvE. I only want to do PvE. I would argue if you already got the infrastructure for this and you've got players who like the basis of the game, then why wouldn't you just tweak a little bit? If I'm making $5 and you're telling me I can make 10 or 7, and all I got to do is tweak something I've already got there, guess what I'm going to do? You know, so anyway, look, I just wanted to touch on this with you a little bit. Obviously we did the video on your channel. I won't, the map here in Hydra is huge. You can, I'm showing the overall map. You can, you know, have little corners and bits and, you know, spaces that you can't get past here until you beat the boss down here. And, you know, there's a little chest here maybe, or a little thing here, and you can't get in here until you beat the person over here and you come. And I like what you said on your video where it's sort of, you know, you can only do this a couple times a week for rewards. And you know, it's open all the time. So whenever your alliance can get in there, you do it. And you know, it can be anywhere from 1 to 50 people who do it. And maybe there's some scaling there. You know, it's scaled to be 10 to 15 people. Anything above that, you know, maybe scales up a little bit, but anything below that, you better be darn powerful if you go in with less than that, because you're even a bunch of whales aren't going to clear it without those 15 people, because you're going to need, you know, certain people to be in there to be able to pop certain abilities, to slow mobs down, to tank, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I've said my piece. I want, you know, the thumbnail on this thing is going to be bring me PvE. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want to see it. Anything else you want to throw in here? I know I've talked a lot, but anything else you want to cover?
No, I think that you nailed it, man. I like that I did my video first so you could come up with some new angles on this. And you probably pulled up a new map. I think, well, that's the other thing too. If you just want to let your imagination roam, just load up the map and click on all the different continents and places that you can go in the game, and just imagine that being a potential dungeon crawl. They exist in the game already, and I think it's just them figuring out how they can implement it in the game. And like you said, the infrastructure exists. It's just time to have a real true dungeon crawl in the game. I think it'd be huge.
I agree. I totally agree. And just like that, my kids walk in with dinner, and so they say, "Daddy, it's time to eat." So we gotta go eat, right, sweetie? But we're gonna get some. Yeah, but we're gonna get PvE. We're gonna keep pushing for PvE in this game. So, appreciate your time, brother. Love you very much. I'll definitely be seeing you later on. And Discord link in the description below. Hammer down like buttons, click the notification bells. And until next time, we hope you guys have a wonderful day. See ya.
Okay, bye.